Hey guys, today I will be taking a look at the best case scenarios for both President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden in the 2020 presidential election. First, starting off by taking a look at the extreme scenarios that gives Donald Trump and Joe Biden a huge landslide victory in the Electoral College on the 538 forecast. So first, we're just going to take a look at these two electoral maps at these two opposite ends of the spectrum. As you can see, they have a lot of these electoral maps. I mean, these are all Biden victory maps, and all maps over here are victories for President Trump. Today, I want to take a look at the most extreme scenarios on both ends of this chart. So starting off with the Trump victory map, as you can see, on this map, I've filled in every single state that President Trump leads in the polling in. So 154 electoral votes, that really isn't too much. But before we get into this, make sure you join my Discord server if you have not. The link is at the very top of the description below. We're doing a Nitro giveaway right now that ends just later today, so make sure you join that and you don't miss out. Again, the link is at the very top of the description below. So moving on to the video, 154 electoral votes. This is every single state that President Trump leads in terms of the polling data. Every other state, Joe Biden is outperforming President Trump in. So which states would Donald Trump be able to flip on this map? So he would, of course, be able to flip Iowa, Ohio, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Arizona. These are the closer states that Biden does have lead in, but these states are still pretty close. We also have Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, which would be next, but Joe Biden does have a 7% lead in all three of these, 8% in Michigan. So this really isn't likely. I'm not saying that this is a likely scenario. I mean, Indiana as well. Indiana, Donald Trump does lead in. I forgot to put that into the Trump column, but Indiana would go to the president anyways. Minnesota, it would be next as well, followed by Nevada and then New Hampshire. These states, these are all the closer states that Donald Trump was able to do pretty well in 2016. He won most of these states. He lost some states like Nevada, Minnesota, and the state of New Hampshire. So Joe Biden would also win all of the West Coast. He would not lose the West Coast. He would also not lose the state of Hawaii, but he would lose the states of Colorado and New Mexico. So 14 electoral votes for President Trump there, and this is 340 for the current president. Joe Biden would win every other state on this electoral map, not losing his very strong grip on the Northeast. So this would give Joe Biden 198 electoral votes, so 340 for President Trump. To put this into context, Donald Trump's best case scenario right now is just 8 electoral votes better than Barack Obama's margin in 2012, and it is basically 25 electoral votes short of the margin that Barack Obama saw in 2008. So Donald Trump's best case scenario is just, barely better than Barack Obama in 2012, much worse than Barack Obama in 2008. So really, this is not a positive sign for the president. Definitely, this map is not impossible, but I don't think it's possible at this point. I mean, this would really occur. Something drastic will have to happen. Joe Biden would have to have killed someone for this to really occur. So, 340 for Donald Trump, 198 for Joe Biden. And next, taking a look at the best case scenario map for Joe Biden. This is the most extreme map, and this map is much more extreme than the previous map. So Joe Biden, 374 electoral votes right now. And taking a look at these states, this is every single state that Joe Biden leads in the polls in. You see a lot more states. Literally, there are more states that Joe Biden leads in the polls in that a President Trump would win by an extreme landslide on the Electoral College right now. This is the best case scenario for President Trump, and this is the map if Joe Biden won every single state that he's leading in. So, of course, he would also win other states that he's not leading in. He would win the state of Texas. He would also win the state of Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri. He would basically win all of the South on this map. He would also flip South Carolina, so Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama would be Democratic states for the first time in decades, as well as Tennessee. He would also flip the state of Indiana. That puts him at 495 electoral votes. And then, surprising, South Dakota is on this map right now, so that puts Joe Biden at 498. Donald Trump will clean up the remaining states, winning a total of just 40 electoral votes. So, a very inaccurate map. I mean, first of all, Nebraska would flip, not the 3rd district, but the 1st, 2nd, and 2nd district would flip before, a lot of these states like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana. So this isn't the most accurate map. I mean, Tennessee also flips before states like Montana. Montana would definitely flip if Joe Biden were to win over 400 electoral votes. I'm not that not 450, not 400 electoral votes. But if Joe Biden were to do that well, Montana would flip first, way before states like Oklahoma and these southern states. So there's a lot of inconsistencies here. But this right here, according to 538, is the best case scenarios for both Donald Trump and Joe Biden. The chances of these occurring are so tiny. So as you can see, 498 on the most extreme scale for Joe Biden, and then 340 electoral votes is the most extreme for President Trump. Taking a look, so this is a Trump plus, I guess, around 160 electoral vote margin over Joe Biden. And look at how close this is to the tie line. Joe Biden at this point, basically winning around the same electoral votes. As you can see, 339 right there. Look at how many more scenarios that he has where he wins more than 339 electoral votes. Most of Joe Biden's scenarios are better than President Trump's extreme best case scenario. So these scenarios are not likely. This is not going to happen. Joe Biden's not going to win, almost 500 electoral votes, and President Trump is not going to win 340 electoral votes. So now I want to take a look at some of the more realistic scenarios. These are my personal predictions for a landslide scenario. These are not my predictions. I do not think this is going to happen. But if they were to win by a landslide, which is definitely still possible, a lot can change. A lot of things can come out about both of these candidates. They've both had very long histories and a lot of baggage. So really, if something does come out, these scenarios could have a very, very small chance of occurring, but definitely not as impossible as these scenarios here. So first, the best case scenario for the current president. So Donald Trump first, he would of course win all of his solid states, and Utah would be a solid state on this map because of course this is his best case scenario, as well as most of Nebraska. And then the second district would be lean for Donald Trump. The state of Kansas would be solid, as well as Oklahoma, and all of the South would be solid for the GOP, along with Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. And then Missouri would be a likely state, Texas would be a lean state, South Carolina likely state, and then the state of Alaska, that would be a likely state. And then Montana, 3 electoral votes, that would be another likely state for the current president. And the second district, Maine, that would be likely. So these are the states that you would expect for President Trump. For Joe Biden, he has the state of Washington, California first. I'm just going to fill in just his safe states, and we'll see that there is a little bit of a decrease. So the state of Illinois will be solid. New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, all the Northeast again. These states are still going to be solid for Joe Biden. 168 electoral votes. This is with the exclusion of the state of Oregon, which is 7 electoral votes. So the state of Hawaii, I forgot to fill in earlier, but Hawaii will be a solid state for Joe Biden on this map as well. These are all of the solid Biden states along with the District of Columbia. So 175 electoral votes. Oregon would be a likely state, so would Colorado and New Mexico. Even in Trump's best case scenario, I don't see states like Colorado and New Mexico becoming lean states, and Oregon was a likely state in 2016, so this isn't too surprising. But right now, in a reasonable scenario, I don't see Joe Biden doing any worse than 15% in the state of Oregon. And some other surprises, there are literally no more likely states for Joe Biden. This is it for President Trump. We have quite a few likely and lean states. Indiana would be likely. I don't know, I filled in this earlier, but Iowa will also be likely. I saved this for, now, just because this state is not polling well for Donald Trump. You saw from the other map that Joe Biden is leading in this state. The state of Georgia would be a lean state as well, joining the state of Texas, as well as the state of Ohio on this electoral map. Ohio is not going to go to President Trump by 8% like it did in 2016. And then, so this map is a little bit of a stretch. There were a lot of states where I don't think that President Trump has a chance of winning at all, but I did have to give it to him just for this whole scenario thing to work. So the state of Minnesota would have to be a lean state. The state of New Hampshire would be lean as well. The first district of Maine would be solid, while the Maine at-large vote would be likely, so not solid in this scenario. And then the state of Nevada would also be a lean state, joining New Hampshire, Minnesota, and the state of Nevada now also in this category. And then some tilt states for President Trump. These are the states that I really see going to Joe Biden, but I mean, Trump can definitely still win them. He won them 4 years ago. So the state of Arizona, that would be a tilt state. Florida also tilt. North Carolina tilt as well. The state of Virginia would still go to Joe Biden in this scenario by a lean margin as well. I don't know why I keep forgetting so many of these states. I mean, I wrote it down. So, yeah, moving on. The state of Wisconsin would go to Donald Trump as well, putting him up at 270 electoral votes. And that's it. 270, that's it for President Trump. Joe Biden wins the remaining states of Michigan and Pennsylvania, 268 to 270. This is, in my opinion, the best reasonable case for Donald Trump. Do I think this is going to happen? Absolutely not. But do I think that there's a slight possibility of this occurring? Definitely much better chance of this occurring than, this 340 electoral vote scenario. Yeah, 340 for President Trump right there. So definitely this is probably not going to happen. This can only happen if President Trump really is able to do something magical to bring back his campaign. But right now, this would be devastating for Joe Biden. He would still be outperforming Hillary Clinton by quite a bit. He would be outperforming her by, I believe, 36 electoral votes if this were to occur. So Joe Biden, in his worst case scenario, would still be doing better than Hillary Clinton in 2016. And then finally, we have the Biden map. This is the Biden landslide scenario map. This one, we all know this is going to be big for Joe Biden. So all of the West Coast, that's all going to be solid. The state of Hawaii will be solid as well as the states of New York, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, the state of Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, the state of Maryland, as well as the District of Columbia, and the Maine first and at-large vote, as well as the state of Illinois and the state of New Mexico. New Mexico is going to be in the solid column because I think that if Joe Biden would really have a very strong victory, I do think that New Mexico would become a solid state. It's current polling at plus 14%. So crossing 15%, I don't think that's going to be too hard. So for Donald Trump, he has, some solid states, I guess. Idaho, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, the 3rd District of Nebraska, and that's it. Oklahoma will be solid, as well as Alabama and Kentucky and West Virginia. So 43 for Donald Trump, 190 for Joe Biden. Now the likely states for the former vice president, and there are a lot of these states. We have Nevada, Colorado, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, as well as New Hampshire and the state of Virginia. And that will give, Joe Biden is already at 278 electoral votes for President Trump. His likely states, we have Montana, the state of Utah, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Indiana, as well as Tennessee. He's now up at 94 electoral votes. And then for Joe Biden, his lean states are next. There are quite a few of these states as well. I think there are 4 of them. So Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, and Iowa. So every single blue state on this map so far, Joe Biden is leading. There's no blue state on this map that Joe Biden's not leading. I don't know why I said Iowa. I don't know why I said that, but Iowa is not going to be lean for Joe Biden. It's actually going to be a tilt state along with the state of Ohio. So Joe Biden would be able to flip back basically every single state in the Midwest with the exception of the state of Indiana. State of Georgia would also go into the Biden column. For President Trump, he would hold on to Kansas, Missouri, South Carolina, and Arkansas. All states that he won by over 14% in 2016. Kansas and Missouri was solid for the current president 4 years ago. These states are going to be lean states for Donald Trump in this scenario. And then Nebraska and Maine, I want to take care of. So the 2nd District of Maine would be a tilt district. I do expect it to go to President Trump right now, but Joe Biden could definitely bring things back here. And the 2nd District of Nebraska, that would be a lean district. I don't see it getting too much larger than that for Joe Biden in Nebraska, while the the Nebraska at-large vote, as well as the 1st District vote, these are both going to be lean category for Donald Trump. And then finally, we have the final state, the state of Texas. And I'm going to put this into the Biden column because I think that as of right now, if Joe Biden can outperform in this state by just a little over 1%, he would win the state of Texas. Just 1% of an improvement for Joe Biden, he wins Texas. So that is why the state of Texas will go to Joe Biden. This is basically every single state that Joe Biden leads in right now with the addition of the state of Texas. And so that gives Joe Biden 413 electoral votes to Donald Trump with 125. The first time that a Democrat has ever reached 400 electoral votes since 1964. So this would make history, and this would be the best case scenario for Joe Biden. I think that this is definitely much more reasonable than, I guess, this map with 498. He's never going to win South Dakota. He's never going to win the South. He's never going to win Tennessee, Indiana, Missouri, Kansas, South Carolina. So this map is a lot more reasonable for the former vice president, and I think that although this is definitely not going to happen, it's going to be a lot closer to the results than this electoral map. This would be a nightmare scenario for the current president, while this scenario I think is going to be much closer than the reality of this to the reality of this race. I don't know why I can't talk today. I apologize if it's confusing sometimes, but yeah, that will be it for this video. Join my Discord if you have not. We're at 360 members. Would really love it if you could join as well. The link is, of course, at the very top of the description below. So again, like this video if you haven't. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, along with any suggestions for videos you'd like to see from me in the future. Subscribe to my channel if you have not. Really appreciate all the support from you guys recently, and I will see all of you guys in the next video.